of, sorry, coach, can't remember your name if you happen to be listening, but he was out of Indianapolis, and he had a system for this. And so I talked with him, got some of his information, and started looking at the things that they chart, that they grade on. I grade on hustle. I don't grade on anything else. I don't grade on assignment because, again, if you don't know your assignments, you're not playing. So I grade on purely hustle. We do not decelerate at any point on the field. We accelerate to everything. Even when we get to the tackle and we come in on that swoop, it looks like, a lot of people say break down. We don't break down. We run through everything. So we do not decelerate. We don't get passed up by another player trying to get to the ball. We don't ever pass up a hit. Again, this is all ideal. I say we don't ever. Guys get graded for, trying to go around a lead block. That would get them points. You don't want points. You want to have 0 or negative points if you can. So if you pass up a guy that's trying to lead block you and you try and swim him and go around, you're getting points. You're not meeting the power. And then the guy said to me, hey, we need to give points if we miss a hit. If we're supposed to make a tackle and we miss it, we should be getting. So they're contributing to the grading. This all goes into the hustle part of our package. If you're down and you don't get back up and get in pursuit and get into that backside lane where a guy might make a move and try and come back at you, you're going to get points. If you're not in backside pursuit, if you're the corner on the other way, all the way on the other side of the field, you better be getting to that ball once that ball's playing. So the guys understand. Philosophically, everybody knows this. This is not a new thing to anybody. More players to the ball simply means more turnovers. We're really good at getting turnovers. Ball on the ground, we're going to get it. One guy makes a whack and a guy spins around, another guy hits it, the ball's going to get on the ground. We got a great running back, and he's coming at us, and he jukes and he jumps back into the cutback lane, and he doesn't see the guy coming from the backside, and we get a blind shot, and the ball's on the ground. More turnovers. It also means we don't give up many yards after contact. We may not be the greatest tacklers in the world, but everybody's going to be to the ball. So you get whack, and then if you spin away, you get whack. And so the guys really get into that. We don't have to convince them. They understand how important that is. So we teach all those specifics, and everybody's target is the near hip. Very simple. Near hip, you're going to the near hip, and once you get there, you're using your near shoulder to tackle with your near hip and your near foot, and your brother's coming from the other angle, and there's going to be nowhere for him to go. So we emphasize it every play. I think there's a lot of coaches out there who talk about hustle, who talk about how important it is to get all those guys to the ball. We know this. We're defense. We all understand it. But I think it's another thing to teach it and make sure that you emphasize it. So we do up downs. If I see a guy decelerate after the play, we're doing up downs. We might be right in the middle of the team session going against our offense. We're doing up downs. We got a guy who doesn't meet the power. He jumps around the block and tries to go and avoid the contact. We're doing up downs. We just go up down to death. Early in the summer, I think we sometimes are doing more up downs than anything else. But they get it and they understand it. And you'll see the value of hustle here, I think, just in a second. As I said, I grade weekly. Friday night, the game's done. We'll watch the film one time through. I get up very early on Saturday morning. I come in, I do stats, and I grade hustle. So we've got our top 15. Well, with the 3-4, we've actually added a couple. So we've got our top 17 players. Those are the guys that are most likely going to be rotating and playing on Friday night. And I watch every play, and I give points for every lack of hustle. So this isn't the whole sheet. You can see I kind of scrolled to the right here, but passed up or missed hits is the column here. The guys told me, hey, we're having a problem. We got hands like feet. We're not intercepting the ball we should have, so we're giving points for pick drops. We got into a point where guys wanted to be a little exuberant after plays, and we were getting penalties, so we started adding hustle points for personal fouls. Guys took ownership, so they wanted positive stuff too. So you get points taken away. You get negative points for stripping the ball, interception, getting to PBU, forcing a fumble, getting a fumble recovery, getting a sack, a pressure, a knockdown. Those things can all get you negative points because you want to be close to 0. And then we reward guys. And the hustle that we have is pretty amazing. It's pretty awesome to see how our guys buy into that and play. Again, no disrespect to anybody out there. It's one thing to talk about it. It's one thing to coach it and push it and make it happen. So this is the state championship game in 2013, and I want to just emphasize our outside linebacker here. He ended up going to Northern and then Northern Illinois University and then Grand Valley State in Michigan. He's coming on as a junior at this point. He's coming on a blitz on the outside. They dump the ball real quick, and he's going to end up getting in on the tackle, okay, way up here on the top of the screen. So just as an example of hustle, I could actually give points on this play too. I won't really go into who I'd give points to. But he's coming off that edge. They dump it. You can see him go all the way down. Our safety comes. He's going to come help clean up. It's a 2-yard gain. And when we stop the play here, when we get done with the play, we call this a Kodak moment. Take a snapshot. How many guys do we have to the ball? Right here, other than maybe a backside corner and a backside linebacker, we've got 9 guys to the ball right here. That's a good Kodak moment. The only thing you got to understand is I use the term Kodak moment, and now I have guys going, Coach, what's a Kodak? But they don't understand. So anyway, we want guys to the ball, and there's visual proof of it. We can see it. We can talk about it. We can coach it from the film, just like we do here. But Jake does a real nice job of getting into the play and going. And I go position by position with every play. You can see it's kind of like a sea of red running to the ball. It was a little bit later in the game. My nose doesn't look all that fast here, but he got passed up. This one's last year, the game we've been watching prior. Our safety is actually going to be blitzing off the edge here, and he meets the power. Probably would get points. He doesn't do a very good job. His technique's not great. We would certainly coach that up. But what I want you to really emphasize and really watch is, again, at the end, how many guys we have pursuing to the ball and when we get to that Kodak moment. There's some pre-snap shift. Safety's coming off the edge, meets it with his chest instead of his shoulder, so he's probably going to get downgraded for that a little bit. But the hustle from our inside backer, the safety recovers. We get the other inside backers, and we get to this Kodak moment, again, other than our nose. And the corner on the backside, we got 9 guys here. What that turns into when you get something like that is guys that might be not the greatest players or average or mediocre players can make plays. They can be big time. And again, that's stuff that we coach in practice. It's not even always in team. We do hustle drills and pursuit drills just like everybody else, but we grade them. And if it doesn't fit what it's supposed to look like, we're doing up downs. And I've got a couple of coaches that are real sticklers on it, and their whistles are in their mouth, and we're hitting it. So it's been pretty effective. Just a quick Kodak moment. This is, again, that state game. This is actually a kickoff. We kick it on the right sideline. The kid catches it and tries to cross all the way across the field. He does not get upfield because the pursuit is there from everybody, and we get, again, 9 guys on the tackle because the kicker jumps on here at the end. But what I love about this is one of our posters to try and, just anchor this idea of hustle. And we get all the red right here, and everybody else is watching. And that's what we want to be making plays. Okay, so the last part here is about tackle. That's how plays finish. We're a little bit of a different place, so I'm not necessarily going to talk about tackle technique. There's different stuff that people do, and I know a lot of the concussion talk and, some interesting articles in the last couple of days about CTE not being in football, all interesting stuff. We all want the game to be smart, healthy. We want to continue to have it for hundreds more years, right? We don't want it to end. And people are paying more attention to technique than ever before. I'm going to talk about that a little bit, but more important, I think, is getting yourself into the right position for that. So, as I said, we're a shoulder tackle team or a rugby tackle team, just like all that Seattle Seahawk, USA football stuff. But what's different about Batavia, and I don't know if you have your ability to do this. We are a school district that is 6 grade schools feeding into 1 middle school, feeding into 1 high school. So we know our kids from 1st grade all the way up. And it's a beneficial thing because they can practice it. Our DB coach is actually the head of our youth programming. And so he can make sure that our stuff is being taught. We do clinics, we coach the coaches, we coach the players. And the odd thing about Batavia is we do not tackle live ever, except for Friday nights. We do not tackle live in practice. I know there's been different states talking about how many minutes per week you should be live tackling and all that. We don't do it at all. We do not tackle live, at least each other. We do a lot of tackling of bags. We do a lot of thud stuff that's not fully live. We teach getting to the hip. We teach everybody going to the, I mean, as you can see in this view here to the right, if everybody's going to the hip, there's nowhere for, philosophically again, there's nowhere for the running back to go. And so teaching that attack of the near hip with the near shoulder is something we start with first graders. Using that near foot and your back foot for the explosion is something that we teach with the manipulative bags and that kind of stuff as early as first graders. And so as you can see here, one of the greatest benefits for us is we have the clinics, we start with first graders, and our guys coach it. Our players coach it. They're on teams with their grade school buddies. Dads might take them out and practice once during the week while we're practicing. And then on Saturday morning, the grade school kids all come out to our fields, and they go out, and our guys go out and coach them and play with them as their recovery after the Friday night game. And those of you guys that are teachers, you guys know the best way to learn something is to teach it. So our guys are teaching, run to the hip, make sure you got your force, don't duck inside when you got outside, contain, all of those things that we all know, we're teaching from first grade all the way up. And so, just throwing a little extra video, our guys are responsible for coaching it. So we put them out there, we get our guys teaching and coaching, using all the things that everybody else uses, all the pads, all the donuts, all the different things. This is now the first time that these guys are in pads. If they go completely just through Bulldog football, this is the first time they're in pads is when they're in 7th grade. There are some local tackle organizations, but most of our guys do not go through that. They go through us and play flag football up till 7th grade. I don't know if you guys can see this or if you can see me over here. But this is our inside linebacker, our all-state linebacker, just teaching technique to 7th graders. And again, I think that makes us unique. I was asked by a coach at a clinic last year, did you say you never tackle live? We never tackle live except for on Friday night, and we're pretty good. And I think hustle is a huge part of that, and tackle is that big part. Missing a hit, passing up a hit is a huge component of that. So we isolate and do individual drills. Sorry about the audio there. Again, we just fit right and make sure that it's done. Our safety here from last year is laughing because he just whiffed on a block. But it's all about leverage. So in that particular drill, you've got your fullback, in this case, our idiot safety, coming at one guy, he meets the power. The other guy then has the free shot to the hip. And again, it's a very simple drill. We're not knocking the crap out of each other. We get the leverage. We know when we get on the field, other guys are coming to the near hip from their position. So I throw this one in just to see the importance of it. Outside backer here on the far side of the field. I don't know if you guys can see him real easy. He's coming in to fill in for a linebacker in the middle of the game, got hurt. And he makes a real nice play. I just use this for emphasis. It's 3rd and long. And the Naperville North team we're playing here is going to run a quick little bubble screen. And they come to meet the power. He just keeps them off, and he keeps that leverage. He keeps to the hip, and he just drives them to the sideline. And I think a lot of that is knowing the kid that just came in there is the fact that he's done that since he was in 1st grade. He has kept blocks off. That we practice that all the time, keeping the leverage, driving that guy back into the play. The back had nowhere to go, drive him to the sideline. If I show this again, though, you can also see there are a couple of loafers here. At the end of the play. Maybe it's because the play gets shoved out of bounds, but the pursuit that we get. We got big rush, dump on a screen, get pursuit across the field. So again, that's a huge part of tackling, making sure the leverage is there. Obviously, we tackle bags. When we go team and we go thud, it's first thud, whistle blows, nobody goes to the ground. We don't wrap anybody and throw them to the ground. We don't swing people around. Why would you hurt your own guys when you need them on Friday night? So again, for us, it's all about technique and doing things that way, as opposed to knocking the crowd out of each other during the week and then not having somebody that could play. And we'll go out there and do it on Friday night.